happy Monday. It's a happy new week, and thank you so much for joining. This is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno. We're live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. We'll be looking at some of the stories headline, including the new directives that have been given by the president about an hour ago. And also, we will be talking to actually a specialist about new measures that have been put across by the president and how it can affect our country, both economically and health-wise. That is coming up in this hour. Join our discussion using the WhatsApp number 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316, on Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316. And let's get talking. Well, on the 6th of July, the President Uhuru Kenyatta warned that he would not hesitate to restore back to lockdown. Then the head of state lifted the orders on cessation of movement in Nairobi, Mombasa and Mandera counties, but warned against laxity in the observance of the safety measures. Today, the president has extended the nationwide dusk till dawn curfew for another 30 days, addressing the nation from State House after holding the 5th extraordinary summit with governors. The head of state said that the stingiest measures are due to the surge in the coronavirus cases. He also urged Kenyans to continue observing measures laid down by the Ministry of Health, as he noted that responsibility is solely lies within the person.
I do further order and direct as follows: that our nationwide curfew shall remain in force for a further 30 days. That there shall be no sale of alcoholic beverages or drinks in eateries and restaurants across the territory of the Republic of Kenya, effective midnight today, for the next 30 days. That the closing time for restaurants and eateries has been amended from 8 p.m. to 7 p.m. starting today at midnight for the next 30 days. That all bars shall remain closed until further notice.
Well, a lot of people were actually expecting the president to maybe announce a lockdown today, but he said that closing the country will not help Kenya fight the coronavirus.
Wengi walikuwa wanatarajia ya kwamba tutasema tutafunga nchi tena. Kufunga nchi haitasaidia, kwa sababu vile nimesema, serikali haiwezi kuwa kwa mlango wa kila mwananchi. Jukumu ni letu, kila mmoja wetu, kuhakikisha amelinda maisha yake na maisha ya wale ambao ni wapendwa wake. Tusione huu ugonjwa ukiwa ni kitu rahisi. Yastahili tu tuangalie yale ambaye yanatendeka nchi zingine, hata nchi ambazo zimeendelea mara 20 mara 100 zaidi yetu.
All right, the president addressing the nation today. And that brings us to the question of the day. Do you think the president made a right decision not to lock down the country? Do you think it was a right decision by the president not to lock down the country? 0786 316 316. That is on WhatsApp, SMS line 20316. Send us your feedback. Well, senators will again tomorrow try to end this stalemate over the new revenue sharing formula, which has so far proved to be a hard nut to crack, delaying the disbursement of monies to the counties. Several attempts to forge a compromise on this new formula has been fruitless, with the recent special sitting on Thursday ending in prematurely, that is. Well, a move that was criticized by some of the senators who called out the Speaker Kenneth Lusaka for failing in his duties. Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kangata was quoted saying that the fate of the bill in the floor of the House tomorrow will comprise of the Building Bridges initiative. His statements have been dismissed by those with contrary opinion to the formula, who say the two are not anyhow related.
If for any reason that proposal will be defeated, then those of us who support His Excellency, we shall know there's no need for BBI. Because to us, the reason why we are supporting BBI as Mount Kenya leaders is because that BBI stands for one man, one shilling. And that is the whole concept underpinning the committee's proposal on how we should share the county revenue. So there is no way you can be a supporter of BBI, then on the other hand, you oppose the committee proposal. Remember, by the way, Mount Kenya counties are not the main beneficiaries of this proposal. Number one is the Rift Valley, number two, Nyanza counties, number three, Western counties. So therefore, the idea of framing the debate as if we are assisting Mount Kenya is neither here or there. And therefore, if we don't pass this formula, then we shall reconsider our stand in BBI, and we shall say then there's no need for us supporting BBI.
All right, let's wait for tomorrow to see what the Senate will decide concerning these two, revenue allocation and the BBI, if at all they're related, as Majority Whip Irungu was quoted saying. Anyway, remember the question that we are answering today. Do you think the president made a right decision not to lock down the country? And kindly tell me why you feel it's a yes or a no, using the WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. SMS line 20316. Jared Odhiambo, asante sana. You're saying, yes, Sarah, Mr. President did so good. Many depend on daily basis. Asante sana for your response. Joseph from Kisarian. On today's topic, I think the president gave a guided decision. He didn't speak for himself. He was a voice of the board that met to deliberate on the measures. That said, we ought to stay safe and follow on the MOH guidelines. Irrespective of a lockdown or not, we are responsible for keeping each other safe. Thank you so much, Jared, for your response. Listening in from Changamo, your name is Muka. Asante sana. Julius from Embakasi, thank you so much for the birthday wishes too. And we have... Remy Kipchirchir pia na kuona. Paris from Lower Kabete, I think Prezo did the right thing. The life has to go on. It's upon us Kenyans to be our brothers and sisters keeper and follow the guidelines that are set. Thank you so much for tuning in. Lynette is saying, actually I can't say yes or no. Caught in the middle, as I would like to understand his rationale. That said, Kenyans still need to follow on the basis of prevention. Please, please. Thank you, Lynette from Nairobi, for tuning in today. And that said, a section of church leaders in Kajiado County have castigated a section of governors who have opted to buy body bags as the counties continue to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. They want the governors to instead channel their funds towards the purchasing of medical equipment that will be used to save lives. The national and some county governments have started preparing for the worst as COVID-19 infections sour and with hundreds dead. In Kisii, Siaya and Kakamega, leaders have already identified large pieces of land to accommodate possible graveyard. In Nairobi, the national government is developing specification for special body bags.
Kwa jina la Yesu. Tumeka kwa jina la Yesu. Corona imetomeka, imebaki kwa Kenya. Kwa jina la Yesu. Tunasema tumekuja hapa sisi kama wachungaji kukataa corona katika nchi ya Kenya. Tunakataa. Maneno tumesikia na tukaona kwa vyombo vya habari na tukaona pia kwa magazeti ya kuwa magavana wetu wamekuja na binu ya kuleta mifuko na kununua makaburi kwa ajili ya kuwazika wa Kenya. Corona hii ina miezi 4 Kenya. Sasa ni nini hiki ambacho kitachochea watu wengi kufa ambao hawajakufa na miezi 4?
Muanunulie wa Kenya wanyonge barakoa na mutibu watu kabla hamujawaua. Kwa hivyo kama kanisa la Kenya tumesema hatutaki.
Tutengeneze, tuweke bidii kutengeneza vitanda, kutengeneza ICU, lakini si mambo ya kununua makaburi ya halaiki na mifuko. Hiyo ni mambo ya kustua taifa hili. Hiyo ni mambo ya...
Well, that is very scary. I don't know about what you think about it, but personally, I find that very scary. Anyway, let's move forward. Nairobi, a member of County Assembly, have launched a fresh bid to impeach County Assembly Speaker Beatrice Elachi over allegations of abuse of office, amongst other accusations. The county lawmakers had on Sunday collected 51 signatures, way above the required 42, for an impeachment notice against the Speaker to be filed in the County Assembly. Led by Wilson Ochola, Utalii MCA from the ODM party, the MCAs accused the Speaker of militarizing the assembly. The ward representatives are accusing Elachi of charges including abuse of office, illegal appointment of corruption and poor leadership, victimization of MCAs and assembly staff, impunity, disregard to the law and county orders, and militarization of the assembly.
Na sisi tumesema hivi, rais, tumechoka na jina yako kutumika vibaya. Tulienda State House, ulituita, tukakaa, tukatengeza kitu inaitwa NMS. Lakini Elachi amekuwa yeye ndio anapiganisha NMS na gavana wetu wa Nairobi.
The Honorable Speaker has converted the office of the Speaker into her personal property. To Honorable Beatrice Elachi, the law does not exist. She is the law, the Constitution, the County Government Act, and among others. Despite being back in office courtesy of court orders, the Speaker does not obey any court order.
Anafikiria hii ni nyumba yake, sisi ni watoto yake, sisi tumechaguliwa. We are not ready to work under military rules.
Hata kama general alipatiwa kazi afanyie wananchi kazi, hakupatiwa kazi ya kuwe mwanasiasa. General, mimi nakuaje wewe fanye ile kazi rais ambaye alikupatia. Wachana na mambo ya siasa.
I don't get engaged in politics. One of the core values of KDF is to be apolitical, not to interfere.
Well, however, legislatures allied to Elachi said they will go after Sonko, whom they accuse of being behind the Speaker's woes. Addressing the media at KICC, the MCs said they will impeach Governor Sonko because he is a failure.
We have somebody who is in office that is not fit for. Because when you look at the turning of events, you realize that this man, when he went to State House and signed, now he's saying he was drunk when he was signing. But you ask yourself, next to him, there was one of his senior officers who is currently the county secretary, who is a lawyer by training. Even if he could not read, was that lawyer next to him also drunk? There was a man called Justus Gathenge who was standing next to him. Was Gathenge also drunk? There was a man, an administrator of high standing, who is called Lebo Morintat. They were standing next to him. And after that, they were given 21 days to go and look at the document. And as members of the assembly, we were told to go and do public participation. We had all this time to look at this document and come and agree or disagree with it. He went and signed it. And in fact, the day he was signing this document, he was so sober to an extent that he was even shooting videos in State House. He leaked some of the videos that he was shooting in State House.
All right, the leadership of Nairobi County will have no comment to that. Remy Kipchirchir is saying, I would like to give my response on the President Uhuru Kenyatta while speaking about the coronavirus pandemic. I do agree and knew that it would be hard to revert back to a lockdown on the economy. Thus, noting that many Kenyans demand on their economy as their source of livelihood. It's about taking personal responsibility and protect yourself against this pandemic. That has also been talked about by Kips Luke, tuned in from Nakuru, and is saying now it's only a matter of increasing our time for prayer. Joseph from Kiserian, talking on the issue of the church leaders that have actually condemned governors for buying body bags, and you say the body bags purchase wasn't a wrong move. All leaders should fend off spreading a wrong perspective on that issue. You buy a dozen of dustbin bags, but that doesn't mean you'll be having a party of dirt that month. Thank you so much for giving us your views on that note. Now let's head over to some other news. Well, a landlord has shocked many people for removing the roof of a tenant who failed to pay rent for the past 2 months. According to George Okot, the landlord is demanding for the full payment of 6,000 Kenya shillings so as to return the rental house iron sheets. With nowhere to go, George is forced to stay in the house with a 1-week-old baby.
Hii mwezi nilimwambia naweza lipa hapo mbeleni, lakini ile anadaisha kabisa ni mwezi iliyopita. Sasa alisema kama siwezi lipa hii double nilipe 6,000, hakuna haja nikae kwa nyumba yake. Na aliambia sasa kama siwezi lipa hiyo sababu mimi nakimbilia kuenda kwa shughuli zangu kuokoa bibi yangu, sasa yeye pia atanitoa kwa nyumba yake. Ndio alifanya. Sasa akakuja akabomoa bati ya kwanza. Sasa jana akakuja akabomoa bati yote. Venye nyumba imekaa sasa hii, mtoto hawezi kaa kwa hiyo nyumba.
Well, that is really unfortunate. A 1-week-old baby in a house with no iron sheets. We just hope for the best and pray for George as he finds a way out of this. Well, we talked about the directives that have been given by the president earlier today, and him saying that the curfew hours are extended to about for the next 30 days. And he also pointed out something very important, that no mheshimiwa or any other person will be excused if they fail to adhere to the measures that have been put by the Ministry of Health. Well, I talked to one Dennis Muturi, who is a political analyst, and he had this to say about the guidelines. Do you think it's the right decision what the president has actually directed the country to do, to extend the curfew but no lockdown?
I believe that the president extending the curfew and the measures that he highlighted today are based on some level of scientific, evidence in terms of the effects of the COVID and the measures that we have had before. So I want to imagine that that's the best the president could come up with and the government for the people of Kenya. And therefore, there's need to restrict some level of movement, but again, not close down the entire country because of the economic effect it has in the country and the manner in which, Kenyans want to really manage the economy and manage themselves. So I think in the circumstances, yes, we could say that is the best the government could come up with, given that it was announced by the president.
All right. And you've talked about economically. What does this mean to our economy right now as a country?
There is a challenge because the economy is not opened fully, and therefore there is a problem in terms of the effect the COVID has had in the country. Throughout the period that we have been in the COVID situation, most of the small-scale business have closed down. There's no money in circulation because we have many institutions not able to really survive.
Yes.
A lot of people have lost their jobs. There's, salary cut in most of the institutions. So there is a serious effect on the people. Continued regulation of free movement, of people and free opening of business, and change of the manner in which business is transacted, of course, has an effect and is going to be felt for some time. It's not something that we can say that has been resolved in a short while. So we will have this, affecting the business going forward. And you realize that as we move forward, there was a radical shift in the manner of which business is transacted. From the traditional, manual system to now over-reliance on technology. And most institutions were not prepared in terms of infrastructure. Even as a government, it was not prepared to lay down the infrastructure for the people to do business using technology in the manner in which it's now being demanded. So you find if you look at Nairobi, for instance, there are regions where you'll find it's easier to access internet connectivity, but there are places you can't. Look at the larger part of the country. There are areas you cannot have internet connectivity because the country was not prepared for a situation where there's over-reliance on technology. So the overall effect is that then business will not be doing good. There will be a slow, flow of finances, and the net effect is that there will be, less economic, in terms of economic growth in the country.
All right. And maybe on other issues, he actually said that government institutions will be made available to the Ministry of Health and maybe the health practitioners, and especially if there is need for more isolation centers and even quarantine facilities. Do you think that this is also a good move, considering that these centers will at some point, hopefully, be opened up to the public?
I think what the government needs to do is to avoid, relying on other infrastructure that are not health facilities in provision or managing the COVID situation. What the Minister of Health should do and what the government of Kenya should really emphasize on is to even partner with private health facilities so that there is provision of quality service, because this has really exposed the problem we have as a country in terms of public health care. We are not prepared as a country. The government has not put in sufficient resources to ensure that the infrastructure can support a crisis such as this. So we are now relying on public schools, we are relying on other government facilities which are not health facilities to provide some level of isolation and place where people can move to. Whereas we should have developed our own health facilities so that if somebody is in a situation such as this and there's need for isolation, they're isolated in a facility which has some level of infrastructure. They have the medical personnel, they have the health facilities in place, and they're able to be assisted. So I think it is not the best interest of Kenya for these for isolation centers to keep being placed in any building. Because even the quality then of service that Kenyans receive is wanting. And remember, healthcare is one of the social, economic rights that we have in the Constitution of Kenya. Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Anyoka. I'm really hopeful that with the new measures, maybe the number of cases in our country will reduce.
Thank you very much, too.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Anyoka, for coming through on such short notice. That is Dennis Anyoka, that is a political analyst. And talking of the cases in our country, today we have recorded 440 new cases, and that is according to a statement that was given to the newsrooms by the CS for Health, Mutahi Kagwe. And we have 90 more recoveries, but we have also lost 5 patients to the coronavirus pandemic. That brings us again to the question that we are asking today. Do you think that the president did a right decision when it comes to extending the curfew but not locking down the country? Your name is... you did not give me your name. Oh, when you're texting, please tell me unaitwa nani, so that it also feels good when I know the name of the person that is texting. But you're saying, hello, great job, guys. You're doing this to spread the gospel through the airwaves. Asante sana for tuning in and for the kind messages. Paris from Kabete is saying, those governors should think positively. It's good to plan ahead, but not in that manner. Matters of life and death belong to God. Faith in God and following government directives will keep us alive. God is on our side. We are not perishing. Thank you so much. Julie Ashioya, thank you for sending in your prayer request. We really appreciate. And you can also send in your prayer request or even your praise report, because Pastor Benjamin Waka is coming in next after this show with a prayer circle live on Family TV and also live on Family Radio. Well, there is a group of young people in Kitale, that is in Trans Nzoia County, that have volunteered themselves to build roads and clean up Fokoland, an informal settlement in that area. Even though phase 1 of the Kazi Mtaani initiative in the area came to an end, the youth's desire to change their their living condition actually did not. They have taken up the mandate of making the changes they want to see themselves. Their only appeal to the government is that once the second phase of the initiative in the county is commenced, they will be given a chance to earn for their own continuous hard work. Listen in.
So tukamua tuanze hiyo mpango ikikuja itatupata mbele, but na request kama wanaweza fanya haraka county commissioner Dr. Mr. Ojwang na deputy county commissioner na chief, kama wanaweza kubali waiharakishe ikuje isaidie watu, sina itakuwa tu sawa. Lakini kwa sasa sisi tumejitolea, hakuna mtu yote mwenye ametutuma, hata hakuna pesa mtu tumekula hata moja. Sisi wenyewe ndio tulijitolea kuanzia last week mpaka sasa hii. Shida ndio sisi ndio tunapata, si hao wenye tunaongoja.
Hapa sisi tujaandikwa kazi, na hiyo nini yenye imetokezea saa hizi, bado sisi kama vijana tujapata kazi ya vijana, lakini tukaamua tujitolee kwa hiari yetu tuweze kutengeneza barabara zetu ili tusaidie wakazi wa hapa. Na yenye naweza sema tu ni kuomba serikali iweze kutukumbuka sisi,
na vijana wakaamua kwamba wao wenyewe watashika majembe waendelee kufanya kazi ya bure, na mpaka siku wakati hiyo kazi itafika ili serikali itawakumbuka. na mimi ninaongea kama mzee wa hii kijiji. Hao vijana wamejitolea hawalipi na mtu yoyote.
Ili vijana hao wasikue idle, wapate nafasi ya kufanya kazi ili wasihusike katika mambo ambayo yataweza kuharibu jamii.
All right, young people taking up initiative for themselves. Let me say my name today. I am Essie Kimenyi. Oh, Essie, thank you so much. On Matters presidential update, I think it's right for him not to lock down the country. The previous one didn't do much either. Thank you so much, for Essie, for tuning in. Well, I also have Sarah Wanaivasha saying, hello, I agree with the president, but it's up to us to now take up the measures. Looking at the high numbers, we all need to up our game. Thank you for tuning in today, and do not be left out. Do you think the president made actually a right move when he extended the curfew but did not lock down the country concerning matters COVID-19? Send in your responses. But in the meantime, in South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa has said that coronavirus storm has arrived with the number of cases passing 400,000. That country is grappling with a rapid surge in the coronavirus infections that has overwhelmed hospitals and battered its economy. The country imposed one of the world's stringent lockdowns in March, but has seen COVID-19 infections increase following the gradual reopening in June and large parts of the economic life. Last week, the government announced public schools will close again this week for a month, a period during which the country is expected to experience its sharpest spike in the coronavirus transitions.
More than 130,000 new coronavirus cases have been confirmed. South Africa now has the 5th highest number of confirmed corona cases in the whole world.
Right, we continue praying for South Africans in that country to actually reach a stage where the Lord should just come through for us. Ama namna gani? Well, Steve Mbithi, thank you so much. Unasema that, hey, I like the show and I love the fact that counties aren't shut down. Great news. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio. Essie Kimenyi is saying, and the county is looking for gravesite. Have they attained the irreducible minimum? Have they worked to ensure that supply of masks and clean water and soap is efficient? If they haven't, I think they're pessimists with poor priority. Remember also the president put across today that 70% of the counties have attained the minimum. But again, what about the other 30%? And then I also need to tell you that if any discussion that we had of the day actually touched you and you need to know more about it or even to re-listen to it or rewatch it, you can always go to our YouTube page, that is Family Media, and you will get all the shows that we have done uploaded there. That way you can always go back to the discussions that we had and all the people that blessed our heart during the show. You can always re-listen to them. And also, if you want to listen to our shows on the go, it's very much possible with the Family Media app, and it's found on the Play Store, that is for Android users, and for the Apple users it's found on the App Store. Just type in the word Family Media in that application and the Family Media application will crop up, and that is what you will use to always listen to your favorite shows on the go. Your name is John from Naivasha. Asante sana for tuning in. I also have, I'm tuned in from Kayole. Thank you for the good information that you're giving us. Asante sana for tuning in today. Well, with the New York City Emergency Medical Services worker, when he started working as the frontline in March, and his name is Pat McNulty. When he started working on the frontline, that happened in March, he and his wife Abby had to make a difficult decision. The couple decided to separate, Abby taking their 2 children, Ivy and Callum, 160 miles away to live with their relatives in Rhode Island. The separation was terrifying for Pat, and Pat didn't know if he was ever going back to see his family. The family trying to stay connected, including having family Zoom dinners. But But Pat was starting to miss major milestones in his wife and his children's life. So with his birthday coming up and his children wanting to celebrate it, the family knew that it was the right time to reunite this family, and see how they did it.
Within 24 hours, we were just like, this thing's getting really, really aggressive, and I'm going to be exposed. And, you know, I was terrified. My wife was terrified. The separation from my family, it was a mix of a lot of stuff. It was terrifying. I didn't know if I was going to see them again.
Usually towards the end of the day when he got tired, he would have a breakdown. I miss Daddy, I miss Daddy. I felt the exact same way. We put a plan in place and he quarantined, and we wanted to do it healthy, and so we did. And Pat, you know, had been dreaming about that moment. Oh my God, Dad! I
looked to my side and they're there and they're running towards me.
Just a really pure and beautiful moment.
I just wanted them. I wanted to protect them, get them in my arms, my whole family, you know, just really great.
Well, there we have it. A really good time for a family that was separated because of this pandemic, having to reunite after a long time. And now it was their father's birthday and they had to celebrate it in one way or another. This reminds me that during this time, we have a lot of people who are making sacrifices to help those who are suffering because of the pandemic. Look at the health workers, the frontline workers, as we call them during this time. They're making a lot of sacrifice to stay away from their family members because of fear of infecting them. That is a big challenge, and they have to keep up with it. So every time you come across a medic or a frontline worker, please just be there to encourage them and tell them that everything will be okay. You know what? There's so much fulfillment and a good feeling that comes with assuring somebody else that everything will be okay. Try that. Thank you so much for tuning in to This Is The Day. Continue sending in your prayer requests and also your praise reports, because Prayer Circle is coming in shortly. And also tomorrow morning we'll be having Pastor James Okumu with Jam 316 and Devotion Hour. So stay tuned to Family TV and Family Radio. For now, it's good night. My name is Sarah Otieno.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.